Roadmap to Victory is sponsored by the R&R family of companies.
Welcome back to Nittany Game Week. Nobody's complaining about a win, that's for sure, but there are some things to dissect from the performance in Minnesota. 1 of 11 on third downs, and the special teams allows not 1, but 2 blocked kicks. Coach Paterno, before the Nittany Lions take a long look at Maryland, it's important they look within and find out what went wrong so it doesn't happen again.
Well, in a game week, you start out with Sunday looking at the film and picking out a couple things that you really want to highlight to stress to your team how important each play is. So let's talk about 2 of those things. Here, Penn State scores apparently going to tie the game up before halftime, and they go out for an extra point. And again, people want to know how this got blocked. The cardinal sin is never to block out. So you want to block down. You have 2 blockers for 3 rushers, and you got to let that guy on the outside go, block the inside gap. The snapper, holder, and kicker have to beat that guy, and you'll see what ends up happening is they block out. And when they block out, that gives that guy a free run right up the middle. And then once a DB gets their hand on the field, personnel-wise for Penn State, when you kick an extra point and everybody else, you've got a bunch of linemen and tight end types who are not going to catch that guy, and that leads to 2 points. Now let's talk about a great play on the other side now. We talked about Jalen Reed having 10 tackles in the game. None of them were more important than his last tackle. Minnesota does a great job on this play. They get the slant. Reed gets actually caught a little out of position here, but you're going to see tremendous hustle on this video, and he just trips this receiver up. If he doesn't get a hand on this guy's foot, they're in the end zone, and now Minnesota has a 3-point lead with the game at the end of the game, and Penn State's not only just trying to run the clock out, they're trying to score to tie or win the game. Now let's turn our attention to Maryland. By the numbers offensively, they're okay, not great. 25 points a game. They're having trouble running the ball. They like to throw the ball around the yard because they are really good at the wideouts. Now, inside the numbers, -1 in turnover margin, 77th in the country. 2-8 against Penn State since joining the Big Ten, and only 4 wins among close to 50 games against Penn State, 23, 61, 2014, and 2020. Now, let's talk about a couple guys to look at. Ty Felton, number 10, watch him. Hopefully he doesn't have too good a game, but he's fun to watch, really talented receiver. And they have other guys that can get the ball there as well that'll give you some problems. Now, in the run game, they have not been great running the football, but they at times have been effective. One of the things they do is they do a little zone read. And most of the time with a zone read, you're blocking this way and reading right off here and going north and south. Here, they're going to read the end, and they're going to bet their guy can get outside on your end if he bites. Here against Iowa, it works. The end just steps in 1 step, and Hemby's outside, and he's got himself 10, 11 yards. And that can be a problem for Penn State if they're chasing that pulling tackle that draws you in. Now, let's talk about some of the other things they do. Off the run game, a lot of RPO stuff. So, again, they want to run the ball. If the defense has the guys around the ball and the linebackers attack the run, he's going to pull and throw this ball in the void. And you're going to see when they step up here against Oregon, they get that receiver in behind them. And again, there's nobody underneath. And now just a good play by the safety in the corner to keep him from going for a touchdown. They do have that ability. Now let's talk about Ty Felton, number 10. We mentioned him. He is a matchup problem. If you can handle him and take him out of the game, Maryland doesn't have, they've got some other receivers, but nobody at his level. 92 catches on the season. Here he sells the deep route, breaks it off, and now he's open for the out. Good timing on this from the quarterback, Billy Edwards, who makes a nice throw, nice catch, move the chains. And again, he's effective after the catch too as well. So watch for him. Now let's turn over to Maryland's defense. By the numbers, they've given up a lot of points. They're 95th in the country. Total yards 79th. They're solid against the run, but if Penn State throws the ball around the yard effectively, they should be able to get this thing moving up and down the field. 14 sacks this season for Maryland, way down from what they're used to doing. Not good enough. They started 3-1. They've gone 1-6 since in their games, and they're allowing 38 points a game in those 7 games since they started 3-1. And then when you look at guys to watch on defense, Ruben Hippolyte has been a very active guy. Jalen Husky at safety has made a couple interceptions and also been active tackling. Let's talk about their safeties. They're going to start a lot of times with 2 safeties high, and then they're going to rotate when they blitz. When they blitz from the left, they rotate left. The quarterback's got to read those safeties. plays. But they're going to use the blitz to try and create some movement up front and make some plays in the backfield. And you'll see here, they bring the guy off the edge. That safety to the offense's right comes down. And now if you're throwing the ball, you got to be able to react to that. But you've got to anticipate those things. The next thing we want to talk about is when they get to one safety high, they're going to leave receivers one-on-one outside with their corners, and then they're going to try and, again, edge blitzes, create movement off here, try and disrupt the run game, create movement and upfield push, and that's how they've tried to stop the run. Now, when you do that, if you break tackles or you're good enough one-on-one outside, it can lead to a lot of points and a lot of scoring, and that's obviously happened the next 7 weeks.
Appreciate that, Coach. Hopefully they feast on that Terps defense. Of course, the Thanksgiving holiday throws off everyone's routine for the week, hopefully in a good way, as you spend some time with family and friends. You know, a football team full of college-age kids enjoys a big meal this year. The team celebrates their Thanksgiving together on Wednesday night.
It allows the guys to have more time on Thanksgiving to either go to my house, to go to their position coach's house, for some of the local guys to possibly go home, or a lot of the guys, as you know, when we have home games, a lot of the families just come in early and they come to practice, they do Thanksgiving, and then stay for the game. When it's a away game, that becomes more challenging. So that is the plan.
Makes life a lot easier to have a home game on Thanksgiving weekend, I'm sure. I want to show you one other thing from the road trip at Minnesota. An awesome flyover and pregame, and local military units in Minneapolis parachute onto the field before the Penn State-Minnesota game. That includes Ronan from the K-9 unit. Bit of a rough landing. He shakes it off, immediately begins to run around and play on the field. He's a hit with the fans all game. Check out the goggles for Ronan. Good-looking pup. He even sits with the Nittany Lion and Penn State cheerleaders for a photo op. Well, he's not Oprah, but we've got the next best thing. Jay Paterno's book club. We do some light reading and dive into his new book, Jay's Book Club, for our Impact interview when Nittany Game Week returns.